What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Yee Yee podcast, episode 42.
42.
42? Is that Donald Trump's presidential number, or is that George W. Bush?
He was 45.
45. Yeah, I get the two mixed up. 42, 45.
So if you're president,
Wait, that's not even right, is it?
no, I don't think so.
42 would have been 42 would have been Clinton.
If you're president twice, you don't get 40. You don't get like 42 and 43.
Great question, Brian.
Because you're just.
I think you're right. Yeah.
You just have a longer term, but you're still the same president.
What about the president? Okay, so do y'all know who the president is? That there was a president that had a term.
Roosevelt.
Was it? I don't think so.
I think so. I don't know.
There's a president that had a term, and then someone else had a term, and then they came back, which is what Trump's trying to do, apparently.
So didn't Roosevelt, wasn't he a president during like the war, and so it ended up being longer, like a longer term or something?
Maybe.
Longer than normal.
I forget what happened. I was young whenever he was president, so I don't remember.
Bunch of history guys in here.
Yeah, well, you
history boys.
Yeah, the history gang. Well, speaking of which, we don't have Parker on the podcast today, and Parker knows everything about FDR. So terrible.
Well, he was a Depression president, wasn't he?
I think he was pretty happy most of the time.
No, like the Great Depression.
Is he in a wheelchair?
That's probably why he was depression all the time.
He was depression all the time.
He was depression, yeah.
Oh, man. So if you haven't noticed, my name is Hayden. I do the marketing at Yee Yee.
I thought your name was Karen.
Oh, yeah. I am wearing the Karen shirt today. If you can see that on the video on YouTube. I was Karen for Halloween 2 years ago, and it was the best. I think I might do it again this year. We've got myself on the podcast. We've got Ben, who does social media, and then we've got Brian, who is director of media / screws up the podcast every other week.
And I'm not on hold with United Airlines this time. All is good in the whole flight schedule.
I feel like so if you don't know, for reference, last week there were some audio issues with the episode. It ended up being fine, but the audio was a little off, and hopefully it sounds better this week. But we had to record like a 2-minute thing of me talking at the beginning and just letting people know. And then everybody just took your side in the comments and kind of like came at me, a few people. Yep. Like, what? I did my job. It was Brian that didn't do his job.
I know where my fans are.
Yeah.
And so
I saw someone commented, and they were saying the name of the podcast should have been Hayden Throws Brian Under the Bus.
Yep.
I know.
That was pretty good.
I think it's just my abrasive personality sometimes. But I think
it's funny because that was my idea, to have you roast me over my mistakes.
Yeah, it was. It was. And it ended up being me that looked bad. Did y'all ever see that comment? I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It was a while back. It was so I'm not really ever on the Smiths, but about 2 or 3 months ago I was on the Smiths, and some lady just unloaded on me. Do y'all remember this?
Yeah.
I don't.
I need to find it.
But I would love to learn.
She just was
I think
like,
I remember that. She was like, I see enough of him or something like that.
Yeah, man, I need to find it.
Cool.
I found the comment on September 24th. It was on the Smiths, so if you want to go back and find that, I guess you can. This lady, she commented on the YouTube video of the Smiths, and it's a very fitting name. Her name is... And I'm going to read off exactly what she said. "Oh, come on. I see enough of Hayden on the Yee Yee podcast. Can you at least keep him off the Smiths channel? Love seeing the family and the brothers, but Hayden and his personality is not for me. So he's a wee annoying. LOL. Sorry, not sorry. Love my Smiths. Please keep it sacred with no Hayden, please. I beg you. Just this one channel needs to be a Hayden-free zone."
Woo! Fan of the week.
Fan of the week. Shout out for being our fan of the week. It's funny because like people in the comments will like, I mean, there may be a few people that agree with her, but there will be people in the comments that take up for me or whatever, but it keeps you grounded. It really does. Like seeing that stuff. And I think a lot of the people that listen to the Yee Yee podcast have gotten to know our personalities and the whole Yee Yee brand, whether it's us, Maddie, a lot of people know Caleb because he's been on some different Granger content. But then we know the majority of the Yee Yee, Granger, the Smiths, Earl consumers are there for, of course, Granger and Amber, and then a level below that is probably Tyler and Parker, and then we get all, like the scraps. There's very few like hardcore, not very few, but
level 3.
Yeah, like that know all 3 levels. So it's just kind of weird. I remember Parker and I talking about this about, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but there's a sports media company that you may be able to figure out if you know anything about sports, that they have a few big personalities that have been there forever. But then the past few years, they've started hiring different people that have their own brands, and they work all under this umbrella. But then I remember whenever that first started happening, the original fans that have been paying attention to that brand got so mad that they were having different folks on shows or podcasts or whatever they were creating, when in reality, like, what we're all trying to do is build, I wouldn't say we're not like them in the sense that we're building personal brands, but we're all here for a certain role, but we're also, there's a big pie, and there's enough for everybody to try and grow and reach different people. And yeah, those people also don't see, like, Granger hired all of us for a reason. Tyler hired all of us for a reason. Whether it's social media and influencers and all the different things that Ben does, or like you're very much more specific, like media, or me marketing, like we all do these things that have helped grow the brand. And it's like, hey, Sassy Sandra, you may not even know about Yee Yee or Granger if it weren't for me, Brian, Ben, Parker, everyone that ships back there, Caleb, Maddie, Lulu, like our entire team. So
Yeah.
it's just funny how that works sometimes.
Another thing to think about too is that maybe people don't like a personality at first glance or anything, but like you said, Granger did hire everyone for a reason. And maybe your personality is because you're fighting for the brand a lot more, and people don't really like that. But it doesn't work without all different personalities. If we were all like my personality, nothing would ever get done, because it's like a little too laid back for everyone to just be that same personality. Versus if you have your personality, my personality, Brian's, that's really like the team effort is how things really function well.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And another thing is, it's like, as you grow, you're gonna get those hate messages. So
Of
it's
course.
almost
Yeah.
like a good thing to
I
see.
love it. I love the
Yeah.
hate, because I heard
Some might say it will motivate you.
exactly. Some I think it was Aristotle that said haters are my motivators. I'm pretty sure
So,
that was him.
yeah.
I think it was Plato.
Oh, Plato. Okay.
Or Van
okay.
Gogh or something.
Van Gogh didn't have an ear, so he didn't even hear the haters.
By the way, do y'all know when Van Gogh died? Like, you don't have to an exact year, but ballpark.
the
an
Renaissance
an
period.
area. No.
I'm just going with periods.
No.
I mean, do you even know when the Renaissance period is?
Yes.
He grabs his phone.
20?
It's more recent than you realize, isn't
When
it?
did Vincent Van Gogh die? 1890.
Okay, I was off.
My dude knew about America.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, he literally knew that America
For some reason,
existed.
I guess it's
Yeah.
just like looking at the photos or
Yeah.
the paintings, you just think he's like way older than.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you see the meme that was going around the other day from one of the really popular meme accounts? You know how there's that whole trend, like on TikTok, where people go, that moment when you realize that 2050 is closer than 1990
Yeah.
or whatever. This guy was like, there was a meme that kind of blew up that said, that moment when you realize that 1543
saw that.
was only however many years ago, like 500 years ago. And then the caption was, it feels like yesterday. Yeah. So stupid. Well, I think going back to that, we talk about it all the time. There's been plenty of instances where, like, Parker and I, Tyler has really gotten involved in like the big decisions here recently, and recently in the past year to two since I've been brought on. But a lot of times it's these calls. We're talking about doing sunglasses with a company. We're talking to like 3 different companies, or jerky, or like we're working on iced coffee right now. There's all these different things, and it's typically, like, a lot of times I feel like my personality is a lot of times, I wouldn't say the bad guy, but a little bit of the devil's advocate. And I'm always trying to think of, because I interact with consumers on a daily basis, whether it be through the Yee Nation Facebook. Like, I think I have a very, very good hold. I think Granger has a good hold because he gets to see them day in, day out. I see those problems, or like because whenever you're creating a product or whatever it is, or creating a brand, you always have to think of, is this fixing a product, and is anyone else in the space doing it? That's the main 2 things that you have to ask. With us, it's a little bit different, because sure, people are doing iced coffee or sunglasses or whatever, but we've got a brand that has been built from Granger to Tyler to Parker down. But we do sometimes play those roles of, like, Parker's the bad guy or I'm the bad guy, and then, like, And Tyler's really, really good at those type. It's been awesome to have him help a lot with a lot of those new ventures because he's really, really good and probably the smoothest talker, I would say, out of anyone here. But yeah, some projects it's one person's the bad guy, and some projects it flips. And in a perfect world, everyone's the good guy.
Yeah.
And
I love being the
collaborations.
bad guy, actually.
No, you don't.
I'm just kidding.
Some people embrace. It's like sports too. Some people embrace being the villain, like an Aaron Rodgers, and then some people are like the Peyton Manning and are just kind of loved by everyone, and so it kind of works that way.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the villain. That'll go into our next topic. So I know probably everyone saw. We'll post the picture, but our boy Antonio Brown had a major freak out. So if you don't watch the NFL, that's fine. We're two struggling Cowboys fans in the office, and then one Patriots fan. So yeah, it's okay. We'll post the picture. Can we post the video on this podcast?
We'll try. We might
Okay.
not. We might.
Okay.
We'll see.
If not, look up the video of Antonio Brown. So basically, he had a freak out in the middle of the game this week. And there's those few moments in sports where it surpasses just the sports community. Like I was with my girlfriend on the couch, and I saw it happen live, and then she was napping, and then she wakes up like an hour later, and I was watching her get on Instagram, and she goes, "What happened?" Like she was looking, it was
It's
just
everything.
everywhere. The
Yeah.
dude just freaked out in the middle of the game. So
It's one of those things, like in sports especially, it's one of those things that happens where even if you don't follow sports
Yeah.
at all, you're going to be interested in
Exactly.
it. It's just because it's very out of the normal.
right. Well, and the meme opportunities were hilarious. So
Yes.
Ben made a funny one. How long did that take you? We will post a screenshot of that on the YouTube video
Like
right now.
10 minutes. It was quick.
Really?
Yeah. I photoshopped it on my phone, actually.
It was
So
very
you,
funny.
You know it's quick when I can Photoshop it on my phone.
True.
Because usually I'll get on my computer and do something like a little more advanced. But that was like, that's easy.
So it was the picture. He freaked out, takes off his pads and everything, and then I watched the full video. It's crazy. He didn't wait to just run off the field. He just immediately just took off, and he was running through the sidelines in the middle of the game. He's on the other side of the field, but doing this to the crowd, raising it, like getting them pumped up. It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen.
That's just someone who just doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit in the office, but I'm not trying to sound like a Twitter doctor because all of a sudden all these people had PhDs and
Yeah.
were doctors on Twitter. but-
WebMD University.
Yeah. I've looked at it a few times, and every single time it tells me I'm dying, even whenever it's like a common cold.
Oh, always.
Always, yeah. WebMD is terrifying, but I think the dude has CTE, and I think that it just seems like it's a lot of the qualities of someone that has CTE, and I'll probably get crap for this in the comments because a lot of people hate him, and I do not like the guy. But it seems like there may be some mental issues there.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's sad to see because like you see it time and time again with like different, especially football players, and they do these terrible things, and it's like, how much control did they really
Right.
have? Like, were they this bad of a person their whole life,
Right.
or was it just? It's just sad.
Well, he's not on the team anymore.
Yeah,
so-
he didn't even the best part about all that was all the pictures of him like outside the stadium. So he plays for the Tampa Bay Bucks. They were playing in New York.
At life.
Yeah, and they cut him immediately. Like didn't even let him back on the plane to go home. And there were pictures of him like calling an Uber, which he wasn't actually calling an Uber. He was calling like some private driver that definitely made money off of that because I saw the videos of the private driver. But yeah, he just pieced out, and I feel like we've said this before, but I don't think that dude will ever play a snap in the
Yeah.
NFL.
No.
Well, hopefully
probably
he'll
not.
use this time to get the help he needs.
Yeah,
if he needs any, maybe he's just doing it
maybe
for fun.
he's straight up crazy.
Yeah.
But did y'all see the stat that so players have incentives in their contracts, and there was a stat that said it was a tweet that kind of went viral that said he got $300,000 if he had one more touchdown catch on the year. He got another $300,000 if he got like 55 receiving yards, and then he got another $300,000 if he had 8 catches, which Bucks are going to the playoffs. They're a very big contender for the Super Bowl. He was most likely easily going to get all of those things. So
Yeah.
that was $1 million rant.
Yeah.
Gosh, that would be nice.
I also saw something that's like him just doing that and catching all the media's attention like literally, like you said, people who don't even watch sports saw
Yeah.
that. And I wonder how much all that attention would make him in money versus just the $1 million bonus that he was seeing through those.
Sure. Well, Brian, was it you saying the other day that this whole in the last year to 2 years, this whole thing of celebrity boxing matches and this is getting big.
Yeah.
And so you straight up think he's going to be fighting in the next year?
He could be. You never know. It's like
I
one
would
of
not
those
doubt
things.
it.
Like
Would not doubt it.
nothing
He is
else going for you.
yoked, by the way.
Yeah.
The dude is in amazing shape, and that's another thing. If you
Love
don't
to
know
see
who
that
this,
fight.
if you don't know who this guy is, he's one of the most talented receivers. And whenever he was in Pittsburgh a few years ago, I know we've got a lot of Pittsburgh fans. He was incredibly talented, like probably the best receiver in the league for a couple years, if not, like top 3 or so. And it's sad to see someone that talented. He would not have had as many chances as he has if he wasn't at the level of talent.
Yeah. This is the first podcast of the year. I just realized.
Yeah, it is.
Starting the year off right.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. We're
Getting-
actually also recording this the day before. So
Yeah.
sometimes we record a little bit before.
Uh-huh.
So this one's very relevant. This will
Yeah.
come out like
It's
a
actually
few days after this happened.
In like a few hours.
Yeah, this will come out in a few hours. Speaking of which, shout out to our Pittsburgh Steeler fans out there. Sorry if you don't like sports. There's just a lot of things happening in sports.
There really is.
Big Ben, last game last night. You didn't get a chance to watch it. I watched all the highlights later. Ben was on a flight, so he got to watch it. I watched all the highlights later, but yeah, it's kind of the end of an era. We were talking about this. Y'all are, how old are each of y'all?
24.
23.
Okay, so I'm 27, so I got a couple years on y'all, but we kind of grew up in the same era.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always interested in sports from a young age. I remember my first Super Bowl was 2000, I think. The Ravens won. Oh, they beat the Giants, I think, in 2000. But so I was little watching, but it's kind of sad whenever you start to see all these quarterbacks that you grew up with, because there's players, but quarterbacks are the head of, basketball has all kinds of different players. Baseball, you got pitchers that are a big deal, but quarterbacks run, especially the NFL. And so it's Big Ben hasn't announced it yet, but he's probably retiring, Ben Roethlisberger, and he's been Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback for, I think, 16, 15 years. So, well, you said 2004 class?
Yeah, so 18 years, I think.
Okay.
That's
okay.
solid. That was 18 years
18,
ago.
because he had
2004 was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back to where we started with wow. 2004
Wow.
was 18 years ago. But yeah, he's of that generation. I was thinking about it last night. I felt the same way as a Cowboys fan whenever Romo retired, because it was kind of the end of an era. I remember watching really crappy quarterbacks that played for the Cowboys before him, but Romo was my quarterback.
Same.
And so I was always a Romo fan. I know a lot of Cowboys didn't like him.
That was my
but
first and only Cowboys jersey. Was the
I've
Tony
still
Romo.
got one too. I
Yep.
still wear it. And the other day I was wearing it out to a bar to watch the Cowboys, and some guy started heckling me, talking about how he wasn't that good.
Mine's a U small, so it's a little.
So it still fits you?
Yep, still
Yeah, it
fits.
still fits
Yep. Wear it every once in a while.
He was legendary though. Like even me being from New England, like I remember like playing football in the backyard with my brother, and we always tried to like mimic his throw because it was like a little bit different,
Yep.
like almost a sidearm.
Kind of that Patrick Mahomes sidearm a
Yeah.
little bit. And he just did insane things. So, but I was thinking about it. We're probably going to hit a lot of our fan bases here. You've got like Drew Brees retired last year. We've got a lot of fans in New Orleans. You've got Tony Romo. You've got like Phillip Rivers. You've got obviously the only one that's still playing, but the Manning brothers. Donovan McNabb. Like I know he retired a while back, but you've got a lot of quarterbacks that it's kind of sad. And our older listeners, because I think we're at that age, like mid-20s is whenever all those quarterbacks that you remember seeing all start to retire. So then if you're probably like 35 to 40, now you're probably seeing like two generations. I never watched Troy Aikman, but like a lot of other people that are older.
I remember
did.
Brett Favre was like the first
Brett, yeah.
quarterback I
Yeah.
like watched growing up that retired, and it was so weird.
Yeah.
And then he came back and retired again, and
Yeah, played with the Vikings and the Jets at the end, and he was good too. Like a lot of them, like I gotta be honest, and sorry to our Pittsburgh fans, Big Ben has been bad lately. Like it's tough watching him play.
it's one of those things with age.
Well, it makes it that much more impressive what Tom Brady's doing.
Yeah.
Still at this age, I mean, he's an
And
animal.
Tiger Woods
and Tiger Woods.
Yep. Still playing well.
Yeah, kind of.
Another thing, seeing like all those quarterbacks like kind of retire and everything, another thing that'll make you feel really old is like the other day, like Trayvon Diggs, is he like leading the league
Yeah.
in interceptions?
Yeah.
I looked at it and he was born like September 98. So he's younger than me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm
Yeah.
just not peak athletic anymore.
Well, everyone kind of has that. Like I remember whenever I was like 12 and watching the Little League World Series, and there were kids that were 6'3", and thinking, man, that kid's my age. And then you get to like high school age, and then there's these kids that you're hearing about. They're the number one recruit, and they're going to Bama or whatever. And then you get to college, and I had it a few years ago where there was no one on a college roster that was older than me. I was older than all of them. And then it happens with the pros, and so
That makes you feel old.
like if you're 45 right now and you're watching Tom Brady, it's probably insane to think that guy's out there playing with 21-year-olds and competing and is one of the best players in the
And
league.
you're worried about your back pain and getting out of bed.
Yeah.
And Tom's out there playing with 21-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean, I have back pain now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine in a few years.
Speaking of January, what do we have coming up? Any tour dates?
Yeah, well,
Tour dates.
there weren't, but I know we had a few that
Had
may
some
come
sneak in.
through. Let me look real quick.
Well, first of all, there's a rumor we have a launch coming up.
there's a rumor.
There are
There's
rumors.
rumor.
I've been
Yeah.
working really hard for just a rumor, so
Well, the rumors are true. January 21st.
yeah, January 21st.
We've been working really hard for that.
35 new items. Anything from hats, 2 new flannels, which the flannels did really well this last time. They're going to be a little bit different designs. I really, really like one of them. I'm not like a color guy, so the blue and red that crushed in the fall launch, I didn't personally wear them, but
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for this one.
Yeah,
that's
these are
coming out.
some of my like favorite items, and like especially the hoodies and jackets and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you got to get it now because
Yeah, those flannels, it's the exact same quantity, I'm pretty sure, as the fall launch. So we're growing every launch, so it'll probably sell out even faster than the fall launch.
Is this the last chance of the year to get a hoodie? Probably
It
for
will
the most
be.
part.
It will be.
Mm.
I talked to Parker the other day. I'd really like for us to carry the
A
OG
few.
hoodie or maybe even another one all throughout the year. The OG hoodie is the original shotgun, just that logo that everyone knows. But we'll see. But yeah, there's hats, there's beanies, there is flannels, obviously shirts. We've got some new women's like leggings and I think a sports bra coming out.
Mhm.
And then we don't have any. Well, we have the concealed carry, but
It's getting delayed.
yeah, guys, we talked about this on the last podcast in the year in review. But man, supply chain is so crazy right now, and we've had a few launches where we launched stuff as pre-orders, and then it took some stuff that came in whenever it was supposed to. Like say the launch was on September 18th. Well, a year ago, because it takes that long on some of these custom items, we were told, oh, yeah, you'll get it in plenty of time by September 18th. It'll come in late July. Well, then late July turns into mid-August, and that turns into late August. And then before you know it, like I think that we ended up getting a lot of those items in
November, December.
November. So we're not up against the gun with Christmas like we are with the fall launch, but we talked about it, and I think that we're probably going to hold off on those concealed carry, releasing them as pre-order items in the winter launch, because not even getting into the details too much, but it makes it really hard for us. And it's a really, from the e-commerce side, it's not a great experience to order 10 items. And there's 2 options. We can hold your order. Say you order 10 items and one of them's concealed carry jacket that we don't have yet. Well, we can just wait. We could ship all 10 items whenever that concealed carry comes in. So you could order on January 21st, 10 a.m. at the launch, and not even get all your stuff until March, whenever that jacket comes in. Or we can ship all of it and then ship the concealed carry later. It's just not an ideal buyer experience. So I think what we've kind of decided is we're going to hold off on that concealed carry. It will be coming in the first quarter of 2022. But yeah, we're probably going to hold off on that. It is military green. It's super sweet.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, exact same design, or exact same like actual jacket as the one that we released in the fall, which was our bestseller and sold out really, really quickly. So if you didn't get a concealed carry before, this is going to be your shot. If you don't get it then, you probably won't be able to get another one until we do the new design in the fall launch in September of 2022.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
depending on where the world is at.
It's so tough. We have these internal conversations all the time because you've got Parker who's trying his best to shift and maneuver in a world, because he does all the product development and all that stuff and works with all of our vendors. He's trying to maneuver and work with all these different manufacturers that some have different, it's all different with all the different 15, 20 plus manufacturers that we work with. And so he's trying to change with the industry as it changes, and it can be very, very tough. That's what every single merchant is dealing with right now. And then you've got the side of like Ben and I that are, and then Maddie also with customer service, that are sometimes dealing with customers that are upset, a lot of times rightfully so, because you're trying to figure out where your order is or whatever. So just bear with us. I know that a lot of the people that listen to this podcast are pretty big customers that understand the world, but not everybody always understands. So we're trying our best to improve as a brand, and then also at the same time keep up with the changes that are going on. So,
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go to break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Yee Yee podcast. Today we are going to go back to everyone's favorite segment, our power rankings, fantasy rankings.
Fantasy rankings.
What did we
Whatever.
what did we decide on?
We
this?
call it different things. Every
I was
week.
looking at the graphic the other day, and I've changed it before, because I make that graphic every time we do it.
Some sort of rankings.
Yeah, so the way that this works is we go around and we have a topic, whether it's best movie of all time or whatever, and say Brian picks something. Once he picks it, it's off the board. So don't yell at people on social media. Don't yell at us for not picking, like, what was there one time it was the best country music artist
Yeah,
of all time,
George Strait.
and everyone was like, why wouldn't everyone say George Strait? So, well, because it's already off the board.
Yes.
You don't understand how this works.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna start. I'll go last. I'll let Brian go ahead and start it off.
Yes.
Wait, what do we even say? Oh yeah, we didn't even say what
are
our
we
topic
doing?
is. Anything you
I
want.
have nothing. I have
Just
nothing
go.
prepared.
Just go, and then
Um,
people can figure out what the topic is.
I have
No.
nothing prepared. What are we gonna do?
The topic is the worst/funniest New Year's resolutions. So this one, it's New Year. There's lots of New Year's resolutions going on. I don't want to say worst because Parker doesn't like negative power rankings, and he'll get very mad at me. But he's also not in office today, so we're running the show. Yeah, never good whenever I'm running the show.
First one, I'm gonna go with the funny one, and that one is to stop Googling symptoms whenever I'm not feeling.
That
good.
is good.
And some of these don't pertain to me actually, but I just think that's a funny one.
Yeah,
We
just
kinda talked about
Yeah,
that
so
earlier
stop
with
stop
the
Googling
WebMD.
your symptoms every time you're sick.
It's
Who
like,
cares?
stop Googling it. You have COVID. Just sit inside for 5
Most
days and you'll be
likely.
fine.
Yeah.
Are you sick? It's COVID.
It's COVID.
All right.
Well, that's what the
Mhm.
CDC says now. We're probably gonna get that. We're probably gonna get this taken down now that we said that.
Take it down.
Just you said the sickness, not you know the word.
Well, then I said CDC. I don't even think you can say Fauci,
Oh.
Fauci, CDC, CDC, coronavirus.
All right, what you
maybe
got,
we'll
Ben?
just pump into some kind of algorithm now.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a lot of people out there that have no idea who we are, and they're looking for actual advice, like health advice, and they're just going to hear us.
It reminds me of that TikTok from like last fall. It was like our best for a while
Yep,
that
it
we
was.
posted, and it was like engagement rings, because she was trying to get her boyfriend to like, that was all his phone ads were.
Yeah.
So she just kept saying like different jewelry stores.
Yeah,
and stuff
he
like
left
that.
the truck, and
that
then
was
she
funny.
immediately picks up, but she had this thick accent. She's
Yep.
like, engagement rings, engagement rings, engagement rings.
All right, what you got, Ben?
All right, so I'm gonna go with a specific resolution, but I'm gonna say, because this is actually a good resolution, but it's gonna be the person who makes their resolution to go to a gym, they buy a membership, and then they only go for like a week, and then they give it up. I'm gonna call that like kind of the worst kind of person.
Yeah, because that happened. I mean, we've all probably been guilty of that, and then
Mm.
probably a lot of people listening have been guilty of that as well. So it's just, yeah, it's keeping it going. I will also say, though, the other side of that, the worst part of because I believe in bettering yourself.
Yeah.
But the worst part of that is the people that go to the gym all the time, and then they get mad that there are other people in the gym now. Because, you know, you're working out in October, it's regular capacity. But then that for, you know, January, it's just packed. And then they're complaining.
Yeah, they make
about,
it their whole personality trait.
It's like you just go to the gym for an hour a day. It's not a personality.
I'm going to amend mine a little and say it's not the active, just like you're trying your best and going in. It's the people who go in and they don't even try. Like they're just taking like a picture to like prove that they went to the gym or something like that. Like they're not really trying to better themselves.
Yeah, they check in on Facebook.
Yeah.
And like for their status for everyone to see it.
Yeah.
All right, good pick, Ben. You know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with, it's not as specific to this year, but I saw it happen last year, and it's not even really bad. It's just funny. The people that were like, I'm going to travel more in 2020, and then a month later, the entire travel industry got shut down.
It's like if you're going to talk about booking a trip, just book the trip.
Just book the trip.
Don't talk about trips all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it.
You and I are both bad about it.
But we go.
I mean, you're going somewhere this weekend.
I'm going this weekend.
Brian talks about, both of y'all. Brian, though, talks about going skiing all the time. Like once a week, he comes to my office and he's like, bro, you want to go skiing?
I love skiing.
And we've never done it. We've never done it.
I'm going.
And this weekend,
Well, if you would say yes, we would go.
Oh, so it's my fault.
It
Well,
is.
I actually may have gone this week, but I'm going ice fishing.
Mm.
And by the way, speaking little sidebar, I was looking at the weather. I'm going ice fishing. I went for the first time last year. It was a blast. I'm going with a group of guys I met through Yee Yee, and we are going to Lake of the Woods this year, which apparently is the walleye capital of the world, and I am super excited to tear up some fish. Here's the forecast. Thursday, high of -9, low of -23. Friday, high of 4, low of -27. Saturday, high of 15. It's going to be real hot. Going to need my flip-flops, swim trunks. Low of -6. And then Sunday when we leave, it's a high of -4 and a low of -17.
So what you just did there is open up the comments to all these northerners to say, that's nothing. It's -100 here.
Yeah.
But for a southern boy, that's pretty cold.
Well, it's the same thing from the blizzard last year. They were all making fun of us, and I'd love to see them in 105-degree weather for 2 straight months. And then they're going to say, we get that here too.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's what's the dad quote?
It's not the heat, it's the humidity that'll get you.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah, so that's going to be mine. The travel in 2020 that just immediately got shut down.
Yeah.
Yep.
What you got, bro?
All right, my next one is the person that makes too many resolutions. And they don't follow through on any of them because they made too many.
I like that.
Broad resolutions.
Yeah, you got to know yourself. You got to know that if you weren't doing a lot before the new year, what makes you think you're going to kick it into high gear?
The only thing that's different is the number on the calendar.
Of course.
Yep.
And it's actually harder to do all your New Year's resolutions because you just ate a ton. You're all, you're kind of fat. You're pale. It's not the summer, so you're not looking that great. Most of us aren't. And it's cold outside, so it's harder to do your resolutions.
I saw this meme of this fat animal, and it said when you've been saying, "Oh well, it's Christmas" for the last 2 months, and then then you have to get in shape. Yeah.
It is weird how we do this thing where from Thanksgiving on, kind of even Halloween with candy and stuff, November, you kind of start getting into the holiday spirit. You're just eating.
You just call it the holidays and you just eat.
Yeah. And then you do whatever you do on New Year's Eve, which a lot of times tends to be drinking, partying, eating, whatever with friends and family. And then all of a sudden you're just supposed to whip it into high gear. I will say this year, though, that we had a full break on that Sunday because New Year's Eve was Friday, New Year's Day was Saturday, and then the second was on Sunday. And so you kind of had this buffer. So if New Year's Day would have been on a weekday, I would have taken that off, that day off as well. But Monday, I came in and I worked out because I had a little bit of a break. So we need that break. We should just make... Sorry, this is just me thinking out loud. We should just, how some holidays like Thanksgiving and Easter are just on the fourth, the fourth Thursday of the month. We should just do that with New Year's Day. It doesn't even matter if it's January 3rd or December 28th.
It just has to be on a weekend.
It has to be on a weekend. You have to give me enough time to get my mind right before I go back to work and before I go back to the gym.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's a good one. All right, what you got, Ben?
All right, so this is one I found off the internet, so it's not very original, but it was to stop drinking orange juice after you brush your teeth. And I just think that's kind of funny because, like, that's always been a meme, but never once have I done that.
Really?
No.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, it's
no-go.
really
You
bad.
don't do that.
And orange juice gets all the bad rep, but
Mhm.
it's not just orange juice. There's a lot of things that you're just like, ugh.
Do you
Yeah,
brush
I've
your teeth
definitely-
in the morning before or after breakfast?
I don't usually eat
I
breakfast.
don't usually eat
so
breakfast
so
either.
In the scenario where you would,
In a perfect world, if I wake up with a lot of time to do like my morning routine and stuff, and
so
not
it's a
just
Saturday
rush-
morning.
Saturday morning
You're going to make breakfast. You brush your teeth before or after?
after. Yeah.
Mm.
If I
I like
remember.
have to brush my teeth first thing.
It's first thing. Yeah, see, some people are different. I don't know.
We were talking about this kind of on that same topic the other day. I was talking with Parker, because Parker and I live together, and we were talking about there's two different types of people. There's people that eat dinner, clean up, and then eat dessert, or do you eat dinner, eat dessert, then clean up? What do y'all do?
Definitely dessert and then clean up, because why would you clean up twice? Because you're going to have to clean up
Ben,
from
what about
dessert.
you?
I can't eat dessert right after dinner, so probably clean up.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
So
then I'll have dessert hours later. But if I want dessert, I have to have dinner at like 4 p.m.
yeah,
Like, or else it's not happening
Interesting.
that night.
I actually use dessert as a carrot dangling in front of me so that I clean up. And I only eat dessert if I do the whole cleanup. You know,
gotta
not just
earn that
clean up.
carrot.
Yeah, you got to earn the carrot. Well, it's usually not a carrot. It's usually
Well, it's
something.
carrot cake.
It's like
That's
ice
kinda
cream.
dessert.
Yeah, true. But no, I'll clean up, and I have to do everything. You got to clean the counters. You got to wash the dishes. Obviously, clean out the sink. You got to do it all. You got to get that kitchen looking dang good before you can have your dessert. All right, mine is my second pick. Oh man. My second pick is to become a better person.
Mm.
I think it's one of the worst resolutions.
Yeah, just keep being bad.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to be nice once, and
You
I didn't
can't be
love
you if you're not.
it. Yeah, okay. You want me to change my entire personality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I tried to be nice once, and it was awful. No, but it's actually a terrible resolution because it's so subjective. Like, you could be a great person and you want to be a better person. Okay, I guess you're still a great person. But then, like, the worst person in the world that does unspeakable things doesn't have to do much to become a better person.
Yep.
They can still do really bad things.
That's like saying this year I'm going to lose weight. It's like
Yeah.
if you don't have that goal for
you got to
yourself,
set a
like
goal.
you're not going to lose any weight.
Yeah. You got to make it an actionable goal. Like, I'm going to talk to one stranger today, or I'm going to make someone's day this week.
I'm going to do something nice for one person today.
Yeah. Which sounds like a lot of work.
But then you end up doing stuff nice for everyone.
Well, that's the idea, is that you make it habitual, and so before you know it, you're just a nice person. But why don't one of y'all try it, and I'll see how it works.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Okay. All right. Last round. What you got, Bron?
This one is more of a funny one again that I found on the internet, unlike my other ones. And it says, harness every bit of willpower I have to not hit the elevator button repeatedly in a futile attempt to make it go faster. So,
That's funny.
I'm going
That
to
is
stop doing
funny.
that.
Well, Brian's also the guy that every time we go on a trip somewhere, as soon as we get out of the... Is it you that does this, or is it
Yeah, I'll
Parker?
usually send it to another floor.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
But I won't do it if there's people on the elevator. But, sometimes you just want to send it in the other direction. I don't see a problem with that.
I just booked a trip. I try to go. I've been twice now. I'm going for a third time this year to Chicago for St. Patrick's Day.
This
I don't-
year?
Yeah.
You've been twice in the last 2 days?
Twice ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, because they dye the river green and it's awesome. And I don't really love going on vacation to cities. I usually like whenever we went to Buena Vista the other day, it was perfect.
The country.
I like going out. Yeah, I like being out a little bit more, but Chicago just is the one city that I just love. I love everything about it. I love the food. I love the Midwest people that all end up moving there. It's got this different vibe than most cities. But I was thinking about all this. I was thinking about how a couple years ago, whenever I went, I did this one night. We were going back to our hotel room, and it was like a 50-story hotel. And I still think about this and feel terrible about this. I hit every single floor.
Did it look like a Christmas tree?
It
People
did.
are wondering.
Well, it was a square. If I was smart, I could have done the top row, the middle one,
Mm.
second row, 2, and it just goes down.
Just done button art.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? Remember those little things that we played with as a kid that look like Connect Four, but
Yeah.
with the little lights, and I can't remember what
Mhm.
it's called. Comment below if you know the name of that. I can't remember the name of that. I
Mm.
could get down on that, by the way. That would be very cathartic to get as a full blown adult. But I did that, and I got out of the hotel. I got out of the elevator, and I was just giggling, and some guy got on, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad.
You
I heard him sigh too.
You can't look back. You just gotta keep walking.
No,
at that point.
That's bad.
New Year's resolution is to press less elevator buttons.
Yeah. That's a very strange one, Brian.
Sorry.
What you got, Ben?
All right. For my last one, I'm going to go with this one. It is also from the internet. It says, I will eat more sweets and less nasty things like fresh fruits, vegetables, and nuts. If you are a frequent listener of the Yee Yee podcast, you know that we constantly remind you to eat your veggies.
Eat your veggies.
We are pro
Yes.
veggies.
So
we are a pro veggie podcast,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yes,
I
we
just want to
are.
get that out there.
So I have the biggest sweet tooth in the world, but I do have to say that is a pretty bad resolution to cut out everything good for you.
That's fair.
What do you want, Tyler? For what? Yeah, I doubt it. Can you put the captioning on that? Tyler just knocked on the door. Yeah, tell him we're almost done. By the way, little plug. Bull wants to talk to me about Risky Business's new shirt. We did I wouldn't call it, I mean, I don't know, because Risky Business, if you're familiar, we'll link their YouTube right below. But Butch and Bull are Granger's bus drivers, and they have their own YouTube channel, and it really crushes. Their engagement's really good, and it's really interesting. It's just like a vlog series, and they just kind of show behind the scenes of their lives and going on the road and all kinds of different stuff. So it's super cool. If you haven't watched that, we'll link it below. But we are doing a shirt with them because they do their own merch. But then we've been talking for a little while about doing a shirt together. So that's going to be in the spring launch. I don't think there's a ton of quantity compared to some of the other items. So if you want that item, better grab it.
It's gonna go quick.
One of the coolest things I've seen too is like out on the road and everything too. A lot of people will say like, "Oh, where's Butch and Bull?" And they're usually back at the hotel, like sleeping during the days. But Granger will always tell people like, "Oh, if you want to meet them, like get there early." So I've seen people get there like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. just so they can strike up a conversation. It's
They're
the
level
coolest
2.
thing.
Level 2. We're level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
you're
much.
right. You're right. We were talking about those levels earlier. Yeah, Butch and Bull are definitely level 2.
For sure.
Okay, I'll round it out with my third and final pick. This one's a little bit specific to me, but there's probably some people out there that can relate. Worst New Year's resolution is to say you're going to stop watching so much sports. Y'all know, maybe not listeners at home, but I am just a sports nut. I watch every sport except baseball. Baseball kind of sucks, but like I'll be watching the other
It's
day.
great live. I can't watch it on TV, but
Yeah, I love going to games. There's no better experience than going to a baseball game. But I will watch like random college basketball that schools like most people have never heard of. So, but it's funny every year, you know, around this time, football's starting to wind down. Like right now, we've got the national championship set. It's only a little. Geez, guys, can't even focus with these two. I feel like y'all's dad, which is scary.
You look like our mom with that shirt on.
Yeah, I do. It's also like a size too big. But every year around this time, I say that I'm going to, like, you know, chill out on the sports, like spend some quality time, whether it's with significant other or friends or family or whatever. Man, it'll be a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and I'm still watching like Hofstra basketball, which I don't even know where Hofstra is, but I watched them the other night.
Nice.
I think
But-
it's New York.
Yeah, it probably is. Fact check that. Fact check if you're listening at home. Well, what happens is football's slowing down, and I'm like, all right, as soon as football ends, I'm going to stop watching so much sports. But then you've got like the March Madness NCAA basketball tournament, which is one of the best sporting events. And before you know it, you got baseball starting. You got college baseball, which is actually really fun. Every other year, you've got Olympics in the summer, or every 4 years, Summer Olympics. And then it just carries on, and before you know it, it's September, start of football season again, and I'm still watching sports, and I have not stuck to my New Year's resolution at all. So,
All right. Bring us home.
all right. Thank y'all for listening. If you're still listening to this with no Smith Brothers on this podcast, God bless you.
You are a real fan.
You're
Send
a-
it to a friend.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, because literally no one would ever pay to listen to us three talk.
Level 3.
Level 3. All right. See you guys next week. Eat your veggies.